She said, you know what? I just want you to be my friend. I said, no way. I want to be a very, 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 very good friend. You know what I'm saying? Not just friend.
I still had the boyfriend. He said, let's do a pros and cons. Tell me some of the good things about this guy. I said, he's nice. And he said, oh, he's nice. Well, that's a great thing. He's nice. And then I couldn't think of anything else. The next day I dumped him and Frank and I started dating.
Take a girl and a guy and they fall madly in love and form a family. Sprinkle in some counseling degrees and a doctorate. A dream of transforming relationships as we know it. And 20 years later, we give you power couple Dr. Ray and Jean Ketkodian. And this is Couples Synergy.
Welcome back to another episode of Couples Synergy with Dr. Ray and Jean. Hi, I'm Dr. Ray.
And I'm Jean, and this is our podcast about love, marriage, and relationships.
Please check us out online on our Facebook page and Instagram at Couples Synergy or our website, couplessynergy.com. And be sure to subscribe to our podcast or send us any suggestions on topics you'd like to hear more about. And now on to Couples Synergy, an in-depth look at love, marriage, and relationships, where we bring you our experience helping thousands of couples transform their relationships for over 20 years.
Everyone says you should work on your relationship, but nobody teaches us how. So we've created this podcast to teach people what they can do to create the relationship they've always dreamed of.
With the partner they fell in love with. On today's episode, we welcome Frank and Patty. Thank you so much for being on our podcast today.
Yeah, happy to be here.
Absolutely.
So, this is not just Frank and Patty, it's Uncle Frank and Aunt Patty. Thank you so much for deciding to be on our podcast, not really knowing much about what we're doing here. But, we want to get into your story, your relationship story. And we think it's a very interesting one. And so, before we do that, let's start out with, how old are you? How long have you been together? And what do you guys do for a living?
So I'm 57. And how old are you, Frank?
I'm 54.
No, you're not. How old are you?
68.
Uh-huh.
Going to be 69 in a couple of months, actually.
Yeah. And we've been married for 32 years.
Mm-hmm.
And we own a golf car dealership. And we both work there.
Awesome. Nice. And you guys are in Atlanta, Georgia.
Yeah, Peachtree City is where the business is, and we live south of Atlanta in Fayetteville, Georgia.
And can you tell us a story of how you met?
As you probably remember, back in Chicago, I was in auto parts business, and I used to do business with this company. I used to order auto parts, every day almost, every evening, and they would deliver it to us the next day. And it happened that this young gal used to go to college. At the time, she was going to college and working part-time at this company that I used to buy auto parts from. And she was taking orders on the phone from me. And almost every day we would talk, and it's no secret that right away she fell in love with my accent and she just died for me, But now she was so nice and so receptive and so wonderful on the phone. And I've always wondered, why is she so nice to me? Well, it wasn't just me. She was just simply nice, and so come Christmas time, I get a card in the mail.
1987, that was
1980,
right? Or 1986?
86.
86.
And I wasn't used to getting cards from anybody, just, so I received that Christmas card and I look at it and it says, Patty Harvey. And I said, wow, this is wonderful, And so I was very much surprised, very surprised, and very happy about it, actually. And the first thing that came to my mind was that I got her, you know. So,
I got her.
And had you guys met yet in person?
no. She just because, you know, we were talking, you know, she was just a nice gal, you know. She sent me a Christmas card, and so to return the favor, I sent her a dozen of roses, and I kept on talking, you know, to her, and I kept asking her to go out. By the way, in the meantime, I asked the salesman who was calling on us from that company, what did this Patty look like? What does she look like, you know? And I remember Paul, you know, he was a nice guy. Actually, he used to live in the same neighborhood as we did, Arlington Heights, you know. And he said, you know what? There were so many young girls taking orders in that company. And he said, she's the cutest one there. I said, okay, then that's it. So I sent her a dozen of roses, and I kept working on her, asking her to go out, you know. She was very much reluctant to do it, and she didn't want to do it. And I finally got her to agree to go to brunch, to have brunch with me on Sunday. See, there's a difference between having brunch or go out to dinner.
Mm-hmm. Brunch is safer.
What's that?
Brunch is safer, right?
Who is safer?
Brunch.
And I took her to this beautiful place, you know, in what was it, Willow Park?
Mm-hmm.
No, yeah, in Willow Park. We met at we met around noon at in front of was it Nordstrom or something, you know?
Yeah, one of the malls.
One of the malls.
And then we had a wonderful brunch.
But we had a wonderful, okay.
Yeah.
Well, mind you, you know, that I spent a lot of money on that brunch, you know, at that time, back in 1986. No.
That was 1987.
87, picture this. $24.95 a head, you know, that's a lot of money back then. You know what I'm saying? And it was
it worth it?
Absolutely. You know, it was an unbelievable brunch, though. It was truly a great. The name of the place was Charcot's. I don't know if it's still there or not, you know.
No, I don't think so.
You don't think so? But anyway, you know, we talked, and we had a really lengthy brunch, didn't we?
Yes, it was very nice.
Very nice. And
it's nice to get to know you.
Yeah. And it was nice to get to know her, you know, and just I thought maybe I could ask her to go out with me again, you know, and I kept working on her, you know, afterwards. When we finished eating and we talked and talked, then as we were leaving, she gave me a hug, which was so good, you know. I really loved it, you know.
So this was a true blind date.
Absolutely.
So
see, it wasn't arranged as a blind date.
Right.
We turned it into a blind date, you know. We had just talked on the phone, you know.
So Patty, what was going on for you? You know, what prompted sending the Christmas card? And
yeah, he was just a nice guy, and I thought, you know, I'll just be nice and send the card. And then when he sent the roses, I thought that was really nice. And he asked several times to get together, and I didn't. And the reason why I didn't was because, you know, I had a boyfriend, and so I was just being nice. But he is very persistent, and I thought, well, you know, I'll just go and have because we were, you know, I kind of looked at him as a friend, but you know, I knew that it was more than that for for him. And actually the
No, you
attraction
didn't.
was there for me as well, but I had that little issue that I, had to deal with. So
The boyfriend issue.
boyfriend. Right. So we saw each other a few times, but then I wasn't feeling, really comfortable with the whole thing because of the circumstances. And he had gone to, out to Las Vegas or
No,
California. And he was gone for a week. And when he came back, he wanted to meet with me, and I said, well, I'll go and meet him. But I knew I was just going to end it. And he brought me back a nice T-shirt, and I said, well,
we met at a place in Elk Grove Village, by the way,
yeah. So we met there, and then I just told him, I just said, this is not the right timing and all. So
she said, you know what, you're nice. I just want you to be my friend.
Yeah.
And I said, no way, I mean, not to her, to myself. You know what? I want to be a very, 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 very good friend. You know what I'm saying? Not just friend. I want to be very friendly, And, but she, in a sense, she dumped me, and I was so hurt bad. Now, hear me out. I mean, that how hurtful it was to me coming out of a divorce.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That it was such a terrible experience for me, going through that divorce. And I was trying to. I don't know. I was trying to revive myself in a sense. And then I get hit with this thing. No, let's be friends. Goodness. So I said, no way that I can be friends with you. You got to be very, very friend.
How long after the divorce was this this brunch date?
My divorce was completed in end of 84, beginning of 85. That was end of 2 years afterwards when it was completed. So I said, okay, well, I couldn't do anything. And I went home and cried. No, I didn't cry. I had grown up a little bit because of my divorce, so I wasn't going to cry, you know what I'm saying?
You did enough crying, probably.
I did enough crying.
But we talked a lot on the phone, and there was absolutely an attraction, and I just kept asking him, just be my friend, I really just want to. And he would refuse to do that. But then, one day in June, it was the day before Father's Day, he said he would be my friend. And I was so happy. So I went and I bought him lunch, and
she came to my place of business, and she bought me a sub sandwich,
and he kept I just really wanted to drop it off and say hi, but he kind of kept me there, and he said, you know what, I drove in with my brother, so could you just wait and we'll leave, maybe you can, I just got a new condo, maybe I could show you the condo and we can have the sandwich. So I thought, okay, well, I can do that. He's asking for a ride. And so we did that. We went to his brand new condo. He didn't have any furniture in there except for maybe that table with the chairs, the three-legged chairs.
A round table and three-legged chairs. Yeah.
And so we ate, and then, I still had the boyfriend. So he said, well, here, tell me some, he said, let's do a pros and cons. Let's just, tell me, some of the good things about this guy. I said, he's nice. And he said, oh, he's nice. Well, that's a great thing. He's nice. And then I said, he can be funny. And he said, oh, that's great. That's really great. And then I couldn't think of anything else. But then he started on the other side,
I stomped her right there. I stomped her, you know what I'm saying? Okay.
Yeah. So all the things that weren't great. And anyway, the next day I dumped him, and Frank and I started dating.
Well, here, and don't forget to tell him, when we put on pros for me, we didn't have enough paper to put it down.
Did we do that? I don't think we did that. So anyway, we started dating, and it was really wonderful. And then in October we got engaged. So that's like about 4 months later, and then decided for me to wait to finish college before we got married. So I finished college.
She was going to Northern Illinois, Cal University.
Yeah. And we graduated May of '89. We got married June of '89. So we were engaged for almost 2 years. No, 2.5 years.
Yes.
No, less than 2 years. Anyway,
2 years,
yeah.
And,
Was the age difference ever an issue for you guys?
yes. Not for me.
Not for me either, but for my family, I think. And, I don't think they came right out and said anything. And his culture, his background was also, an issue. It was kind of like subtle, like not, coming right out and saying things, but, kind of little hints here and there. And I just could tell that my parents weren't totally happy for us. And you have to remember, like at that time, the hostage crisis, it was only 10 years old, and it was still fresh in people's minds about, what Iran had done. And, so there was a lot of that at play. And I'll tell you, when I asked a salesperson about him and he told me he was Persian, I didn't know what Persian was. Like if I had known Persian was Iranian at the time, I'm not sure that I'm just not sure that I would have gone to meet him. So that's how strong the hate was back then for the country. It's too bad, because it's not about the country. It's it's about people.
Right.
But yeah, so the age, the nationality, that I could tell those were concerns for my parents, but they were never concerns for me.
And some of her friends actually were telling her, "Oh, he's too old. He's 12 years older than you. Just." But anyway, the power that I had, and.
Frank, you're not being very humble here. No, he's really an amazing person, and as soon as I had a chance to get to know him, none of that stuff mattered. So I didn't care what my parents thought. I didn't, that wasn't a concern. I remember, like when we got married, and I was walking down that aisle, I could see him up there, and he was smiling, and I think some people might have some concerns, of whether this is, the right choice, if they're nervous. That was never the case for me. I knew that he was an amazing person, and I knew it was the right thing. So there was never, ever, an issue of whether it was right. It just felt right all along. So,
and for our audio listeners, Patty, your ethnic background is what?
So I had German, English, Polish, some Irish, and then I actually did one of those 23andMe's, and what I was told about my background was pretty accurate. So there's a couple little miscellaneous things in there, but that's the breakdown.
And so which was more of a difficult challenge? Was the age difference or the cultural difference?
There was no challenge for me, one thing we talked about though is because he was 36 when we got married, I was 25. We were both thinking, oh my goodness, we got to get started, if we're going to have kids, because he's going to be 60 by the time the first one would be 20, just kind of thinking, and which seems so ridiculous to me now, because, it's just a whole different ball game with people and how long they're waiting to get married and have children. But that's what we were thinking. Like, we wanted to get started right away so that we could, have kids, and, he wouldn't be too old.
By the way, we got to mention, that at our wedding, there was this young fellow, he was, I don't know how old was he, maybe 13, 14 years old, playing the violin for us,
Mm-hmm.
And and his sister was playing piano, you know, and
Weren't all three of them there?
yeah.
Wasn't Lale doing something as well?
I don't think so. I think it was just Misi and me.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
you and Mitra, you know, just playing just beautiful music, you know, that was wonderful. And here's wonderful thing. You know, after we got engaged and whatever, a few months afterwards, actually, as we were getting ready for a wedding, we went to this Chinese restaurant in Woodfield Shopping Mall. It was actually upscale type of a Chinese restaurant. So I took her there. We sat there. We had dinner, and there was the waiter brought us fortune cookies, and here it is. She opened up her. That's the truth. I'm telling you, that is the truth. What I'm about to say. She opened up the fortune cookie, and guess what it said? Don't look any further. Happiness is next to you.
Oh,
that is the truth, absolute truth. You know.
Yeah, and
it just,
I knew that.
It just couldn't have been any better. I mean,
and you didn't plant that cookie, huh?
Absolutely not. Absolutely.
I wish I could find that fortune, but I can't find it.
But it was so appropriate and so wonderful, you know, and we always talk about it, you know. And as a matter of fact, when Patty at times holds these speech classes, you know, and I have always been her student in her classes. And she has always flunked me, by the way, you know, every time that I participated in a class, you know. But, and so each one of us who participated in those classes would get up and, you know, give a speech about whatever it is. You know? And one of my speeches was about the fortune cookie. And I gave all kinds of numbers about how many fortune cookies are produced or made every year, where they are made, where it comes from. Actually, it doesn't come from China, by the way. It was invented in San Francisco. You didn't know that?
No.
Over 4 billion fortune cookies are made every year.
You are so good.
And one of those fortune cookies was the one that she opened up, and that's what it said.
One in 46 million chance, right?
Yeah.
46 billion.
46 billion.
Billion. Yes.
How did you guys get engaged?
So it was just really simple. You know, we were at the condo, his brand new condo, didn't have a lot of furniture, although he got a couch and a
TV.
And a TV, yes. So we were, it was a Saturday night, and I came back from college, and we were just laying on the floor in front of the TV watching a movie. Mm-hmm. And in the middle of the movie,
it was kind of, we had a blanket over us because it was cold, you know, and so.
Yeah, it was in October, yeah. And I just, you know, he reached for my hand, or I reached for his hand, and he was holding the box with the ring, and asked me to marry.
And what did I say? I said, I started singing, "If you don't know me by now, you will never know me."
Yeah, there was a song.
So I just handed her that, you know, and that was it. She was very much surprised. So not very surprised. No, I don't think she knew it was coming, but it was just a matter of time, you know.
And this is like 4 months of dating, right? And then you're engaged. Was that? How did that decision come about? It's pretty quick.
Well, so, you know, even though we weren't officially dating until June, I had known him since the December, you know, because we had been talking. And so it wasn't kind of official until June that we started fully dating, but you know, I had a chance to get to know him.
And we had shared a lot of things, you know, and we knew about each other. And I had come to see, wow, I'm not going to let this one go. You know, no way. You know, she is, I mean, her heart is as clear as it could possibly be. I'm going to grab her, you know. And So
And I felt the same,
yeah.
Frank.
So I didn't let her go. No way. I wasn't going to do that, And I had experienced life, in a sense, and I knew I could tell people's hearts, and of course, physical attraction, of course, is always there. You love that, you enjoy that, but it's what's inside of that person that really moved me, and got me.
Frank, had you ever been this serious with anyone who was not Persian before in your past?
Yeah.
You've been that
No,
serious?
this serious, you mean as far as getting married?
Right.
No, absolutely not. No, I thought you was, what you meant was if I knew other girls who were not Persian. Yeah,
Right.
Yeah, I did, but no, absolutely not. No.
How did the two of you deal with the pressures, the family pressures from either side?
So I don't recall like much pressure. I mean, when the decision was made, my mom was wonderful in helping with the wedding. She was very excited that, her daughter's getting married. And I think if anything got brought up, and my memory is really horrible, but if anything did get brought up, I just shut it down, very quickly. And, this is who I'm marrying, and something to that effect. But it was very subtle. It wasn't like you shouldn't do that. I think there were little things like, are you sure? And, that kind of thing. And that's probably something that any parent might be, just making sure. But I know those were the factors. So, and because everything else was wonderful.
But I tell you what, on my end, of course, I'm being a divorced 36-year-old man. There was no such thing as trying to get maybe my parents' approval. Of course, my father was gone. As you know, your grandpa. I mean, and but my mother, your grandma, was just the very first time that she met Patty, she fell in love with her. She just loved her. And
I loved her. I love Meme June.
And although they couldn't speak the same language, Meme knew just a few words in English, and Patty had picked up a few words in Persian, and they would understand each other.
We communicated.
But no, absolutely on my end, absolutely no, nothing, of course, but so that was great, yeah.
And you guys didn't live together before you were married?
Well, I mean, he had the condo, and most of the weekends that I came home from school, and I came home just about every weekend, I would stay there at the condo, and occasionally I would go back to the house, but not very often. So we never officially, lived together, but I was there all the time.
And as soon as the school is over on Fridays, she couldn't wait to get to me.
You are funny, Frank.
So you guys get married, and then where do you guys go from there?
Yeah, so we knew we wanted to, get started with a family right away. So we did, and I got pregnant right away, and ended up having a miscarriage with that first baby. And then, got pregnant again shortly after that. And then Armin came in August the next year. And then we just kept going,
By the way, Ramin, I don't know if you know that we got married on your dad's birthday.
No.
Did you know that?
No.
That was my parents' anniversary too.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
August 18th.
We got married on June 18th.
June 18th.
And on that day, June 18th of that year, it was Father's Day too. And that's when we got married also, yeah.
But Armin was born August 18th.
Armin was born
Yeah.
August 18th.
Yep. Then Justin came a year and a half later or so, and Artemis about 3 years after that. And we thought we were done. Actually, he only wanted 2. I wanted 4. He kind of compromised at 3. And then we moved to Georgia in 97, and we let everything go that Artemis, the youngest, wasn't using anymore. Let all my maternity stuff go, and we got settled in here, and you know, we had a little oops, Frank. and anyway, we found out we were going to have Kev, and Frank was pretty much a nervous wreck, you know, because we moved down here. It didn't turn out the way we had thought it was going to turn out. We thought we were buying an existing business. The whole deal fell through. So there was enormous financial pressure, and, you know, I had a new house, new schools, a new business, just knew everything. And then we found out we were having another baby. And so it was quite stressful.
Yeah, very, very scary. But when Kevin came, you know, just, by the way, he's our only redneck, you know, the rest of them are Yankees, you know. But he, as scared as I was at the time, but he brought life to us. He's, as they say, he's the glue of our family. He really is, and he gives us so much life. He's full of life. He's vibrant. He's alive, you know. And when he comes home, you know, from school, you know, it just so wonderful. Wonderful.
So 4 boys, how was that?
Yeah, it just was what it was. You know, people ask that, and we loved, you know, being parents. We knew that's what we wanted to do, was have a family. And so we, you know, we enjoyed every bit of it. We sometimes were going in many, you know, or different directions with all of their activities. But it just all worked out. You just do it.
That's right.
Yeah. So we enjoyed it. We enjoyed it so much. Like we very rarely got a babysitter. So that wasn't something that was really important for us. One time we went into Chicago, it was on Valentine's Day, and we got somebody wanted, maybe it was my mom. Oh, a friend's.
No.
My
your
mom
came over.
mom watched, it was probably just Armin and Justin at the time. And we just didn't enjoy it. You know, we were concerned, and we just wanted to get back there, even though my mom, of course, was excellent. She came every week to spend time with them, but we just enjoyed spending time with them. We didn't even take a trip away until 2008, like away without them. It was out of the country because we won a trip. And we didn't want it to go to waste. We won airfare anywhere. Yeah, anywhere. So we just decided to go to Italy. But so we loved it. We were somebody was always there for them, and so.
Why did you want 4 kids? Did you come from a large family?
No, I don't know. You know, it just seemed appealing to me to have 4, and I'm not sure why, but I got what I wanted. He wanted 2, and we ended up with 4, and I know he's very, very happy about it.
I thought we were going with 2, but obviously she had other plans, you know.
This wasn't me.
Yeah. But
these things take 2 people.
Yeah. But now I wouldn't want it any other way now. Absolutely. You know, it's the best thing that could have ever happened. You know.
But what would you say are some of the biggest challenges the 2 of you have faced together as a couple?
I think our children have created some of those challenges, you know, and just raising them and all of the things that take place, all the things that they do. Like they've told us now that, we would have these Christmas parties and there would be a lot of alcohol at these parties. People would bring a lot of alcohol and the boys told us later that they, as soon as the parties were over, they would, kind of grab whatever bottles they wanted. And so they, I don't know, I think it's pretty, typical, but we hear about some of those stories now, but those things led to other things. And
Kevin proved it to you how good he is at doing that, right? You know what I mean? You remember a few years back?
What? I don't remember.
At Alec and Angie's wedding.
At the house,
Oh,
he
okay.
was just completely gone,
Yeah. So, but things like that, I mean, challenges of that nature, I don't think any of that stuff put a stress on our marriage. If anything, it kind of brought us closer to deal with challenges. And, we, just like everybody, I'm sure, we had our fair share of stuff that happened with, school and, all sorts of things. So, and then dealing with the boys and breakups and things of that nature. I will say that I'm very happy that we don't have any grandchildren that at least we know about. So, so we didn't have to deal with that. And I know a lot of people do, but, the boys just were having fun, I think. And so.
Now, mind you, that it's not to say that we never have had any disagreements.
Oh, yeah.
We have had it, but it's
No
been
doubt.
very short-lived. We might have kind of been mad at each other, if you will, but
Oh, yeah.
it just lasted maybe, truthfully, a few minutes.
Sometimes overnight, but that was early
and
on.
One of us for sure would turn around and, say something to break the ice and say, come on, I'm sorry, or whatever it is,
Yeah.
It never got any deeper than the surface. So
In what way is your guys' relationship different than what you saw growing up?
Oh, yeah. So, my parents didn't have the kind of relationship that Frank and I have. They divorced, my mom and dad, and so it wasn't always. I have good memories of growing up, and they were really good parents. But I think my dad probably could have done a better job at being a husband. So, but I don't know that affected me a whole lot. I'm sure it has, but not really with our relationship. I know for Frank, he's, seen nothing but, devotion and love and with his parents. So.
And, one thing that I learned from early on, the respect that my father, your grandpa, had for his wife, for my mother, never disrespected her. It was something that always stayed with me. It got embossed in my head, and I don't think I have ever disrespected you, Patty.
No, never. And Frank is an amazing person. I'm very, very blessed. No doubt about it.
And it just, I think it's, and I also, as I said, I kind of learned from my first marriage. Not to say that when I say I learned from it, not to say that I consider myself guilty of having done anything to cause that divorce. By the way, I'm so happy that it happened so that I could meet this lady. He was with me. God was with me, and so that I would get to meet this wonderful woman, And but I learned quite a bit, and I knew what it cannot be. Not that I ever was actually more than 50. You know, I never wanted to be more than 50% of the whole thing. You know, although at times I make that gesture that, oh, I'm the man. I gotta have 80%. You are 20. You know, that just.
No, I've never felt like
Yeah,
that. And I feel like he's always been 100%, and I've done my best to be at 100% as well.
Yeah,
so instead of 50%, we don't, you know, we just try to give it all.
It just give and take.
I feel
bottom
like
line is give and take. You know, you just there are times that you got to say, you know, you're right. You know, and you know, hey, it is what it is, and we go on. You know, but.
Yeah, it would seem like your past experiences really set things in motion so that you knew what you were looking for when you met each other.
Yeah, I mean, I
knew what I was looking for.
Yeah, I just, you know, wanted a good person, a good man who, you know, had was respectful, and our values aligned, and you know, our thinking and our beliefs, and for the most part, and so, but you never know how, you know, people change. You never know how these things will ultimately end up, right? Because things happen over the years, and so I feel like we've put a lot of work into, you know, making when there were issues, instead of pulling apart, we got closer, I think, and so, you know,
sure,
yeah, but you know, life throws you a lot of different things, and I think your relationship can either be divided, or it is more united and stronger. And so, luckily for us, in how we viewed things, and our love, that we always got stronger through the challenges.
What advice would you give to younger couples, especially with being in the middle of having a bunch of kids and a busy life? How did you guys manage to stay so connected through that?
Yeah, so we just love spending time with each other. Like Frank, he would never, like, he never went. His whole his family was his everything. He didn't have any outside friendships. No, he did have them, but you know, they didn't have a regular time that they went out. Frank wasn't interested in any of that. And not that that's a bad thing or anything. And sometimes people like to take a break. And I actually have spent time with my friends doing different things. And he's been very supportive of that. But he just never did anything like that. And so his whole life was his family. So he just made the conscious effort and choice to be completely dedicated and devoted to us. And so I don't know if that's, you know, I think that's definitely good advice for people to, you know, be completely dedicated and devoted, but that he showed it in a different way. That doesn't mean you don't spend time away from your family. It's just that was Frank's whole thing. He worked really hard, and when he got home, he just wanted to spend time with his family. And so that was huge. That so we never had to struggle with, hey, you know, you're spending too much time doing this, or you're spending too much money on that, and that's the other thing. We never have had like money issues. Not that we didn't have to worry about the finances. It's just, you know,
we never argued about it.
Right. Yeah. And there was, you know, he was always very understanding of if I went out and took care of things, bought things for the boys, there was never any questioning. Now, if we were pretty frugal, and so we cared about that, but so we never had any trust issues. And I think hopefully people go into a relationship knowing that they can trust somebody, but if you can't, I feel like that causes so many issues that are hard to overcome later. And so the first thing is make sure that you really trust somebody before you go into a marriage. But then spending time, just being devoted and dedicated and showing that you care, showing respect, working hard. Like all four of the boys have only seen Frank every single day of his life get up and go to work and work hard so that they could have the life that they had and that they continue to have.
Just to piggyback on what Patty was saying, going out with the friends, going to a bar to drink or whatever, it never interested me. If I ever wanted to go out with my friends, all of my friends from college and whatever, if it wasn't with their mates or wives, and us together, it didn't interest me at all. I was never happy to just go out. Okay, hey boys, let's go out, to a bar and drink and just whatever it is. It didn't do me anything. I never got excited. I never cared, and I still don't. If I'm gonna do something, she's got to be involved. Otherwise, hey, I'd rather stay home, have a glass of wine with her, and I think she says something, and when she says something, then I grab it and I go on forever. She laughs her butt off. I'm saying I wouldn't let it go.
Just the silliest, stupid things. We can, take that on a long ride,
yeah.
But the other thing that I was thinking about with young couples is not to stop showing the way that you love somebody. Don't ever just think, well, we're married now and there's pressures of kids. You still, whatever way you show that or whatever way you make time for one another, there has to be time away from kids and time to keep your marriage good, because inevitably if you don't, then there's going to be issues that come up. And I don't think maybe a lot of people understand how important that is to make time and to show your spouse how much you care and how much you love them. And that can be in whatever ways are important for that person. I'm sure you've heard of the 5 love languages. And so, for me, it's acts of service. For Frank's, it's words of affirmation, I think. And so he knows that. And so he'll do things around here that make me happy that I don't have to do. And I try to remember to, build and. Yeah.
I fill up the dishwasher all the time and empty it.
Yeah. And so we just find those things that are important to the other person and try to make sure that, we're not being selfish. Just don't be selfish. I think that's huge. And I also feel like instead of just meeting somebody someplace or saying, I've come halfway, like we were talking earlier, why not just go all the way? Why not just go all the way? Because I think the issue with relationships is that, people always say, well, she doesn't understand this and she doesn't do that for me, or he doesn't do that for me. And, why doesn't he love me and show me he loves me by doing this? And so you kind of stand your ground on your side, when if you just thought about what was important to the other person and just go all the way to the other side, it just, so many good things come out of that. But if we're always looking for what we need and what's important for us, that's, I think, how division begins and how relationships get messed up.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So last question. What is one thing that your partner has done that you really know they loved you?
I don't know, if there's one thing that you could say, she has done or I have done. It's just a everyday thing that we do for each other. Every day, that we when I go to work or we go to work together, it always starts with "I love you," and as I said, every day we may have disagreements, but it's very short-lived, very, very short-lived, and it ends up with saying "I'm sorry," or the other person saying sorry, and just going on. I think it's an everyday thing. It's not one thing that you can do, to say, okay, well, that's a fantastic thing. No, fantastic things happen every day, or should happen every day.
Yeah.
So.
Well, and for me, I just when I think of Frank, I just think of enormous, devotion, and just it's been a constant for all these years, and he's always there. He always shows care, always shows utmost respect, which at times I can probably use a little bit of help with that. And we work together too, which has added a different dynamic to our lives, and it's fairly new. Like in the last 3 years, and it has been a challenge at times, just because I come in with fresh eyes and I see things that I feel I feel like I can change, and he's been running this business for 24 years, and so there's a little bit of that kind of thing. But what I see all the time is that he has enormous respect and love, even if he gets mad. But I just see that all the time. Like, he's so constant. And so I can't think of one thing that he has done. He's amazingly.
It's a continuous thing that we do,
Yeah.
But just going back, to what she said, that we worked together, and I did it for 20 some odd years, and she has been active for the past couple of years or so. Yes, she has taken over and kicked my butt,
Yeah.
Yeah, we know a little bit about working together for the challenges that brings, right?
Yeah.
But she has no doubt about it. This has nothing to do with our marriage, but she has brought in so many different new ideas, different things that I'm like a dinosaur, I want to stay with the old ways of doing things, but she has helped me, just kind of calm down and say, yeah, new things are okay, so let's go with them.
She's your innovator.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
No doubt about it,
Well, Uncle Frank and Patty, we want to thank you so much for being on our podcast today.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you for taking the time. It was a lot of fun.
Sharing stories is the ways that human beings have been bonding and healing and growing since the beginning of time. And we hope that by you guys sharing your story, it's enriched your lives and the lives of our listeners.
Got it.
Sure.
I want to wholeheartedly thank all of you listeners for joining today on Couple Synergy. Our passion is in helping couples and people have happy and healthy relationships. And this podcast gives us a fun way of bringing our knowledge and expertise to you, our listeners. For all of you listening, please subscribe to our podcast and please leave us a review. If you have any questions, comments, or topic suggestions, please email us at contact@couplesynergy.com. For more information about Couple Synergy and our programs such as the Home Study Course, Relationship 101, the Couples Weekend Intensive, and our premier coaching program called Couple to Couple, look us up online at couplessynergy.com.
And if you know someone who could benefit from this episode, please download it and share it. And thank you for listening.
Until next time, synergize your life and synergize your love.
You have been listening to Couple Synergy with Dr. Ray and Jean Ketkodian. Couple Synergy was recorded, edited, and produced by Dr. Ray and Jean Ketkodian. Voiceover and music entitled Breathe and Let Go was recorded and composed by Gina Gonzalez.